guys, welcome back to the channel, and we are still over in warwhales, and I'm just going to be covering just a couple replays while I talk in the background about where I think the game is, and how much I'm enjoying it. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it, but this is definitely not my favorite meta that I've ever been in. So before we get into showing the replays, I just want to go ahead and say thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for enjoying the content. I hope I'm bringing you something that other content creators aren't, and I hope you'll share this with your clanmates, your friends. Whether you're in a top clan or a farm clan or whatever the case might be, just trying to go serious or playing relaxed. I hope this content kind of brings something for everybody. So I believe the next set of triples is all hybrid, so it's not like the most enjoyable thing. I think there's a drag bat too, but we're gonna start here with Nova. Nova coming in. Nova is new to the clan and he's doing very well. So I believe this was his first war. But yeah, so let's talk about the meta. And I think hybrid is a good place to start when we talk about the meta, especially the current meta, because hybrid used to be something, especially at Town Hall 12, that we saw pretty decent success with. But it was like a fringe attack. It wasn't like the go-to attack. And hybrid has definitely, in recent months, become the end-all, be-all pinnacle of what most people are doing. That and Yetis. So I've been playing for long enough to realize that there's always going to be a spam attack that is at the top of the game. Nice poison, nice CC kill. I like this double layer wall break, but I've been playing long enough to realize that there's always going to be some kind of spam attack that kind of reigns supreme. A couple seasons ago it was 10 giants, 10 witches, and like 15 bowlers. And that was like Town Hall 11 thing, and then the Town Hall 9, obviously you had like the witch slap, and then it kind of transitioned. Then you had like Frozen Witch at Town Hall 10 when the siege machines first came out. So I'm not naive enough to discount the spam attacks, because obviously they do have their place in the game. I think every clan kind of needs those guys, and they can be very effective. I mean, some of the best 5v5 teams in the game, their best players are the ones that use the spam attacks, and you have like your guys that are really good at Sui Lalo, and they're really good at finding those one or two bases that are open for like an air attack. But if there's one or two bases in a 10v10 war, one base in a 5v5 war that can be Sui Lalo, there's usually two or three that can be hit with some kind of spam attack. So having those guys in the clan is not just like a good thing, but it's almost a necessity if you want your clan to have decent success. Nova getting really close here with the damn eagle still being up. Still got a bunch of miners though. Should be fine. RC takes down the RC takes down the scatter shot. Queen's still alive. Getting close, but he's gonna end up getting it. Very nice job, Nova. But as far as the queen charge attacks, I think queen charges are actually, I don't want to say they're too strong. However, there is not a lot of room in this game right now for anything other than a queen charge, a spam attack, or a Sui Lalo, which, Sui Lalo isn't really a spam attack because it's more surgical, especially at Town Hall 13. There's a lot more nuance to it, but at the end of the day, it's still 40 balloons and 2 lava hounds. It is pretty spammy. It's very heavy on the spell placement. So kill squad hog, stuff like that. Yeah, you might see a couple attacks, but you're not going to see a lot. I mean, dragons are really strong, but again, you're not going to see like an overwhelming amount of dragon attacks like we're going to see here. It's kind of like an unfortunate place to be. And then with the 5v5 meta, with it being one hit only, it kind of encourages attacks like hybrid, because if you risk it and you bring something like all hogs instead of bringing the miners in with the hogs, then you're risking the town hall, because hogs aren't very good at taking down the town hall because you need the percent. There's a lot more thought. So if you could just kind of get away with, I'm going to just, throw miners in the mix, and then the worst case scenario is they'll get the town hall and I'll get a save too. I think that's actually bad for, the state of the game. I'm not a big fan of like the whole 2 stars are like the staple. I miss the game where it was difficult to triple, and then a 2-star wasn't anything to really write home about. It was like, hey, good try. But now you see a lot of times like the 5v5 wars, and the stuff that's going on with that, you'll see guys that they get like, oh my goodness, it was a 93% 2-star. What great percent? Like what are you talking about? It's not great percent. It was a 2-star. But I mean, I do get it. I'm not dumb enough to think that it's not important to get the 2-star. But it's just kind of unfortunate to see that the game is kind of path that way. And it also, now in this game, it used to be that when I saw someone attacking live on my base, right? Say we're in CWO Elite and it's a 25v25. When someone attacks my base now, I almost expect it to be triple. Like the way the current meta goes, especially if it's got like one defense and it's a cleanup attack. I don't know how this worked. This is very rough. Oh, he's got a bunch of minions. Okay, but man, this is a close one. But yeah, so I'm almost expecting my base to be tripled like every single time when it gets hit on cleanup. No matter how much time I put into my base, Yetis are too strong. Hybrid is too strong. You can't. And then if you defend against those, Sui Lalo just cripples your base. So it's kind of unfortunate that in the mix, not the mixed breakdown wars, but in the double hit format, you know, getting 4 defenses is like a rare thing. It's almost like wow, this your base did really well. When I see a base get tripled after 2 hits, I'm like, oh well, I'm surprised it lasted that long. It's kind of weird because when we first started, 10v10, the hit rate was like 20%, and that was 10v10, and that's back when Town Hall 11s were in the game. So if the 10v10 hit rate was 20%, and then you had your 1 or 2 guys that would be like 40%, and they were like gods in your clan, and now it's like if you don't hit like between 30 and 40% at Town Hall 11 or at Town Hall 12, not Town Hall 12, sorry guys, Town Hall 13, it's almost like yeah, you're not doing terrible, but you're just not kind of up to par on where you should be. And it's really weird because we're talking about 40%. Imagine back in like season 4, if every time you hit a Town Hall 10, you had a 40% chance that it was going to work. The numbers just are really weird. And you would think as the game progressed at a higher level, because it's even worse now at like Town Hall 12. Town Hall 12 is a lot of fun because there's a lot more options. But just the strength of the troops now is just ridiculous. Like the healer buff, I've seen hybrids only get the queen charge on a hybrid only get like 14% of a base, and then the healer swap to the hybrid, and it triples. If I'm investing 170 troop space or whatever into my queen charge with funnel troops and the heroes, plus I'm bringing 3 raid spells and 2 free spells, and I'm doing all this stuff for my queen charge, and I only get 14% of the base, there's no way that attack should triple. But now, even when you see like a fail on like for example, we're going to take Summer's attack right here. Queen pops the abilities, already used 2 freezes, just now getting the Town Hall, just got 14% of the base. Granted, this base was set up for this because now he's going to get both scatter shots, he's going to get the Town Hall, he's got, good pathing, he's got all 3 heroes. So I understand why this attack works, but in an example where your queen walks the wrong way, this could still triple. And it's kind of crazy. He's got 3 Inferno Towers plus the Eagle, and everything's decently far away, and the attack's still going to, go through. It's just not really enjoyable anymore. I mean, everyone likes to triple, but man, it's not fun to triple when it's just not very hard to do it. And now I'm not sitting on my high horse acting like I triple every single base, because that's not the case. But it's just kind of ridiculous now, the amount of triples that we see. It's almost like a race to a perfect war, or as close to a perfect war as you can get. Very rarely do you see 2 good clans kind of swinging it out. Like, I'll take my example of our war against Nova. We put up 22 triples against Nova, and they put up, I think, 23 or 24 against us. This is, the best clan in the world, the world champs. And then, warwhales, we're not like the best clan in the world. Obviously, we're just reforming. But we're talking about like, they went, it was like 13 out of 15 on their last 15 attacks. Granted, they're all cleanup, and they are world champs, and they are very good. But barring any shady shit going on, that's just ridiculous numbers. And it's not like our bases didn't defend well. I think my base against Nova had like 4 defenses, and then the last attack, the guy just comes through and just cleans it up. And granted, after the fourth attack, they probably had a good plan on it, but there was a bunch of bases where it was just like triple, 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 triple. Nothing goes wrong. Like everything's just overpowering the base, and it's not fun anymore to watch that happen. There's no more like close like great defense wars, stuff like that. And then you get bases like this, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Um, Again, hybrid. This is the common thing. We've seen anti 3, anti 2 bait bases, and then these anti 2 everything's in the core, and it's still gonna triple. Like this core right here is gonna get tripled by 9 hogs and 19 miners. It's just crazy. I don't really know what the fix would be. I think, like, obviously the scatter shot is really strong. It kind of balances the game. It really balanced out Lalo, which Lalo was very, very, almost too strong at Town Hall 12, right? Town Hall 11 doesn't matter anymore because you can't balance it when you have, the troops coming from Town Hall 13 and the CC. But, like, Town Hall 12 was very one-sided for Lalo, and the scatter shots kind of brought that back into balance. Now the problem is the scatter shots, uh, they don't do enough balancing for Yetis because the healer buff was very, very detrimental to defense in this game. The healer buff makes it insane, especially something like Yetis. They are physically impossible to kill without traps. If you have raged healers on the Yetis, you just can't kill the damn Yetis. And I don't think the game should be like that. Like if I'm hitting a group of Yetis with 2 expos, 2 scatter shots, and the town hall is ignited and it's roasting everything, like I don't understand what else I'm supposed to do as far as a defender in order to kill those Yetis. I mean, look at his core. He didn't even use his tome. He just went into 2 scatter shots, 2 giant bombs, he's going in 3 infernos, 4 expos, and like he didn't lose anything. It's just kind of ridiculous the strength in the troops right now. I think one thing that would kind of balance the game out would be to give us more options as far as traps go. We need more traps in my opinion. We need more spring traps because I need traps not only to defend the hybrid, but I need traps to defend the Yetis. And you can't place those all in the same spot to defend the damn Yetis and the hybrid because it's kind of a different defensive layout. But at the same time, with like seeking air mines, I need SAMs not only to try to kill healers on a queen charge because healers are ridiculously overpowered, but I also need to put some by like the town hall to stop them on Yeti hits. But then how am I going to stop a blimp? They don't give us enough traps to kind of play with the Town Hall 13, and it kind of shows. I think that's where the actual, like, the detrimental part of building is the traps. It would be nice to maybe get one more of each, like a spring trap, one more for the seeking air mines, one more red bomb, and then another skelly spell, or another skelly trap. One more skelly trap would really slow down the hybrid. And granted, they're not going to give us that because I believe that Supercell is of the mindset that they don't really care about the competitive play. That the easier it is to triple for regular players, your regular clans, which makes up the 99.9% of the game, the easier it is for them to triple, the more fun that they're going to have. The more fun that they have, the more likely they are to spend money, which I totally understand. It's a business. They got to do what they got to do. But it's kind of unfortunate to see that we used to be able to take what would be, the ring bases at Town Hall 10, where pretty much, anyone could triple it with like a Sui Lalo or like a bitch attack or something like that. And that would be like the skill cap for the regular players. And then we could take that same defense and turn it into something that made it very difficult to triple at the top level. But I think now with the power and the troops that they've given us, it's pretty much made it impossible to do so. It's completely balanced in favor of the offense, and it's completely unbalanced in defense. And I'm not like hard tech or anything like that. I'm not the best base builder. I consider myself a fairly decent base builder. My bases do get quite a bit of defenses. I think I've only been fresh tripled one time in CWL, and I think the majority of the wars I get between 4 and 5 defenses on both my accounts. I know in MLCW with Wretched Titans, I build I think 5 or 6 bases a week between me and Team Unique, and I think the most triples we've ever had against us was 2 or 3 in those 10v10 wars. So we're talking about like 17 defenses. So I consider myself not the best base builder, but I'm experienced with it, and I can tell you right now that base building is fun when you can get a base that defends, but it's almost not worth the effort. That's why we're seeing a lot of people running like the Legends bases and the CWL wars and stuff, because it's just not worth the 2 or 3 hours that you spend putting a base together, then the hours of tweaking and then the hours of testing and then changing and then waiting on a cooldown. It's just not worth it anymore, because no matter how many times you do that, Yetis or hybrid is gonna kill your base. Like there is some way to get that to work on your base, and it's just not fun to watch it anymore. So I completely understand why people are now buying bases, and I'm glad people like Hardtech and Red John, you got like Top End Building, Felian Building, and all that stuff. I'm glad those guys are kind of finding a niche in order to move forward with like a business, because at least somebody's capitalizing off of it. Because the attackers and the players are definitely not capitalizing off the current meta. It's just unfortunate that people have to go somewhere in order to get a base that defends. And then I couldn't imagine the pressure of being like Hardtech or Red John or any one of the guys who builds like for Tribe or J Off. Those guys are like building those bases. Imagine the pressure that they're on in this meta to get defenses, and it's like literally, I think alternate attacks was clearing like 3 out of 5 bases. Granted, they lost. I mean, everyone's susceptible to losing, but like I would never bet against them. And if I'm betting on how many stars they're gonna get in a war, I'm going with 3 triples. Like, there's no way I'm not saying that they're gonna get 3 triples every war. Like if I'm facing them or like Tribe, and I'm telling my team like, hey, this is where we need to be in order to win this war. 13 stars is a tie war, in my opinion. Like that's where you need to be. I think Hovenly or whatever they're called. I don't know how to pronounce it, but those guys did very well against alternate attacks, and they kind of put them on their back foot. But if you watch the response from alternate attacks in the next war, I mean, it was almost like when you're playing like basketball with, like I have 2 sons, right? So when I'm playing basketball with my 2 sons, or I'm playing with my daughter or anything like that, my youngest daughter can't play basketball yet, but my other daughter, when we're just like shooting around and I'm just having fun, I'm like passing the ball and, doing like trick shots and stuff. And then it would be like if my son showed up one day and I'm doing that and he just beats me one on one, like outright, and he's talking shit, like, yeah, you suck, dad. And then I go and like lace up my shoes. Those guys went like 4 out of 5 fresh, not even close attacks. It was just like they could just triple at will. And you shouldn't be able to do that. Like there shouldn't be a time where you can just triple at will in this game. It shouldn't be that easy. So, especially with 15 minutes of planning. I mean, we're talking about 15 minutes of planning. Imagine a 10v10 in season 2 or 3 with 15 minutes of planning. No one would triple. Like it would be like 2 triples in a season. Maybe guys like Slothfuls and TDH and them. TDH Town Hall 9 could pretty much triple anything back in the day, but no, it's just kind of unfortunate to kind of see the game go this direction. I know a lot of people are enjoying it, so I'm not trying to like knock anyone else's fun, but just coming from my perspective, I think people are kind of deer in the headlights with the offense. And as much as it sucks to see something like Lalo be so nerfed compared to ground, I couldn't imagine what this game would look like if Lalo was still OP. I mean, I think the hit rates of Lalo is still OP. Like, I think all my triples are between between hybrid and hogs in CWL. I think I might have done one Yeti smash, but the vast majority, right? I'm at like a 50% hit rate. Uh, the vast majority of my triples have all been hybrid or hogs. I could Sui Lalo at Town Hall 12. I can Sui Lalo, 11, 10. I never really put in the effort to be able to do it at Town Hall 13. But if I'm at 50% with just those 2 attacks, imagine if Lalo was still OP as hell. It would just be outrageous. The hit rates would be like 70%, especially with the guys who can do it, religiously. It would just be outrageous. So I don't know how you guys are feeling about it. This is kind of my thoughts. I really you know, they say hindsight's 2020 or nostalgia makes everything look better. I did hate failing attacks back at Town Hall 10, just like I hate failing attacks at Town Hall 13. But now it's almost like if you give a kid too much cake or too much candy, you know, they're gonna enjoy it in the moment, and then you're gonna look back on it and be like, man, it kind of sucks because now I'm a fat, you know, piece of shit or whatever. But it is what it is. We're gonna keep chugging along, and hopefully there's a defensive buff that comes out soon. And yeah, that's it, guys. So let me know your thoughts on the meta. Let me know if you're enjoying it. Maybe I'm just a stupid fucking, you know, guy in warwhales, kind of sitting on a soapbox. But let me know how you guys are feeling. Let me know how your clanmates are feeling. Let me know if you like these videos where I kind of just talk and about random stuff. I'm not doing these all the time. I'm not like a big let's just sit here and talk kind of guy. But I figured it'd be nice to mix something up. And that way I didn't have to go through like breaking down hybrid attacks for 30 minutes. Everyone knows how to hybrid. So that was just a good way of showing some replays and kind of just talking about how I feel about the game. All right, guys. So make sure you like, subscribe, share with your clanmates, all that yada yada. Big shout out to my wife. Thank you very much. I'm sorry if you actually sat through and listened to this because you probably don't know anything of what I'm talking about. But thank you for everything you do. All right, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.